moving at a velocity of about 135,000 miles per hour, so it's going really fast.
A nuclear-powered spacecraft sent by aliens to test how humans respond.
NASA signaled. The object answered. 3 days ago, the rules of space exploration shattered. In sterile conference rooms across the globe, NASA's most senior scientists delivered news they never expected to share. Ground-based telescopes had detected an interstellar visitor moving through our solar system. NASA transmitted mathematical signals using humanity's most powerful radio arrays. The object answered back with structured intelligence that corrected human mathematics and demonstrated knowledge exceeding our understanding of advanced chemistry. Natural objects don't engage in conversations. Asteroids don't solve equations. Comets don't transmit molecular diagrams. Yet here was something doing exactly that, forcing NASA to abandon 60 years of established protocols for cosmic discoveries. The discovery began September 15th, when Mount Lemmon Sky Survey's automated cameras detected object 2025 SM14 moving against the background of distant stars. Initial velocity calculations revealed trajectory and origin point indicating interstellar space, only the fourth confirmed visitor from another star system in recorded history. But this object immediately broke every classification system NASA had developed over 6 decades of space observation. Spectroscopic analysis revealed molecular structures unlike any known natural formation process. Where scientists expected typical signatures of water, ice, and carbon compounds found in previous interstellar comets, they discovered complex arrangements that didn't match any database of cosmic chemistry. More disturbing, preliminary radio observations detected structured electromagnetic emissions with mathematical patterns that asteroids and comets simply don't produce under any known physical laws. Within 6 hours, NASA's Planetary Defense Office elevated the object from routine observation to priority investigation. The Deep Space Network, normally reserved for communicating with distant spacecraft scattered throughout the solar system, immediately refocused on something much closer and infinitely stranger. NASA has spent decades developing protocols for this exact scenario, though they never expected to implement them. Hidden within classified technical manuals are comprehensive instructions for attempting contact with objects of unknown origin. These aren't theoretical exercises. They're battle-tested procedures refined by the same engineers who successfully guided Voyager beyond our solar system's edge and maintained communication with spacecraft billions of kilometers from Earth. Stage 1 involves passive observation, using telescope arrays across different continents. Teams at Goldstone, Madrid, and Canberra work coordinated shifts, ensuring continuous monitoring as Earth rotates. Every photon of light, every radio emission gets recorded and analyzed. Stage 2 deploys active radar mapping using humanity's most powerful systems. These installations can map objects 20 million kilometers away, transforming dots of light into detailed three-dimensional models. Stage 3. Deliberate radio transmission using mathematical sequences any technological civilization should recognize. Prime numbers in ascending order. The first 30 digits of pi, basic atomic structures, starting with hydrogen and helium. The transmission lasted exactly 17 minutes, using the combined power of 3 70-meter diameter dishes simultaneously focused on a single target. In mission control at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena, dozens of technicians watched their monitoring screens in the sterile glow of computer displays, expecting the empty silence they'd experienced with every previous attempt to contact unidentified objects detected in space over the past several decades. What returned from the darkness beyond Mars changed everything humanity thought it knew about intelligence in the universe. Dr. Sarah Chen, NASA's lead signal analyst with 15 years of experience interpreting cosmic data from sources throughout the known universe, later described the moment of recognition as watching meaningless static resolve into organized symphony. The sophisticated artificial intelligence systems designed specifically to identify patterns in astronomical observations, immediately flagged multiple sections of the incoming transmission as potentially constructed rather than naturally occurring phenomena. The response signals matched none of their extensive reference patterns compiled from millions of known cosmic sources cataloged over decades of space observation. Instead of the chaotic electromagnetic emissions typical of heating comets or tumbling asteroids, the signals displayed unmistakable mathematical structure that required deliberate intelligence to create and transmit prime sequences that increased in complexity beyond anything in nature. Nested mathematical relationships like encrypted messages within messages. Most significantly, timing patterns indicating active response to NASA's transmissions rather than random broadcasting. Most significantly, timing patterns that clearly indicated active response to NASA's specific transmission sequence rather than predetermined broadcasts transmitted randomly into space. This wasn't a recording playing back predetermined responses. Something was actively engaging with NASA's communication attempts in real time. But what made NASA's leadership genuinely concerned wasn't simply the structured nature of the responses. The signals demonstrated adaptive behavior that defied every known explanation from natural physics. As NASA's transmission teams modified their communication parameters during the 17-minute window, the return signals adjusted accordingly, in real-time coordination that suggested active monitoring and response. They sent mathematical proofs and received corrections that identified specific errors in human calculations. They transmitted basic chemistry, showing simple molecular bonds, and received complex diagrams depicting advanced compounds that human science had only theoretically predicted, but never successfully synthesized. Something with technological capabilities clearly exceeding current human understanding was actively engaging with communication attempts, demonstrating scientific knowledge that surpassed human achievements in specific research areas. If you want to follow this story as it unfolds, subscribe now, because this is only the beginning. At exactly 3:47 a.m. Pacific Time, a technician monitoring deep space communications in NASA's Pasadena facility noticed that pattern recognition algorithms were generating error codes that none of the veteran staff had ever encountered. The Deep Space Network's most sophisticated computers, designed specifically to process and classify signals from spacecraft operating billions of kilometers from Earth, couldn't categorize what they were receiving from something much closer to home. Within hours, automated alert systems triggered notifications to government agencies. U.S. Space Command began monitoring. The Pentagon received data feeds. International partners were briefed through encrypted channels. NASA faced an unprecedented dilemma. Immediate disclosure could trigger panic. Withholding could compromise credibility. They chose a middle path, confirming contact attempts, while protecting sensitive response data. The decision satisfied absolutely no one involved in the unprecedented crisis management process. NASA's own research scientists demanded complete data transparency and immediate publication in peer-reviewed journals. Military and intelligence officials strongly preferred total classification under national security provisions until comprehensive threat assessments could be concluded. International Space Agency partners insisted on immediate information sharing through established cooperation treaties. Within hours, secure networks linked NASA with the European Space Agency in Darmstadt, Japan, Aerospace Exploration Agency in Tokyo, and Roscosmos in Moscow. The European Space Agency immediately demanded complete transparency, arguing that potential contact with extraterrestrial intelligence represents a discovery that fundamentally belongs to all humanity, rather than any single nation or political alliance. Russian space officials raised concerns about whether the object might represent advanced military technology deployed without international notification, potentially requiring coordinated defensive responses through existing space security treaties. China's space program, notably absent from initial emergency briefing sessions, began conducting independent observation campaigns using their own sophisticated deep space monitoring facilities. The situation became exponentially more complicated when ground-based telescopes operated by international consortiums in Chile's Atacama Desert and Australia's Parkes Observatory began detecting identical structured signals completely independently of NASA's official monitoring efforts. Multiple nations were simultaneously analyzing the same data streams and reaching their own preliminary conclusions about the object's nature and potential origins. NASA discovered they could no longer control the narrative pace or manage the gradual revelation of information. International space exploration law provides no established framework for managing this unprecedented scenario, involving potential contact with non-terrestrial intelligence. For the first time in human history, we've moved beyond passive cosmic observation to confirmed active communication with something that originated beyond our solar system. We transmitted mathematical languages developed through centuries of human scientific achievement into the vast emptiness of space. The void answered back with corrections to our equations and knowledge that challenges our fundamental assumptions about intelligence in the universe. In control rooms scattered across multiple continents, the most sophisticated listening equipment humanity has ever constructed remains focused on a single coordinate point in the darkness beyond Mars. The communications have evolved far beyond simple mathematical exchanges into increasingly complex information transfers that push the boundaries of human scientific understanding and force researchers to reconsider basic assumptions about DOD, physics, chemistry, and the nature of intelligence itself. NASA's emergency briefing represented only the opening exchange in what may prove to become humanity's most important dialogue with intelligences beyond our world. The object continues its trajectory through our solar system toward the outer planets and eventually back into interstellar space, but the structured signals continue growing more sophisticated with each transmission cycle. Each new communication carries information that exceeds current scientific frameworks and suggests the existence of knowledge systems that dwarf human achievements. Whether this represents natural phenomena operating through physical laws we don't yet understand, advanced technology deployed by intelligences we've never encountered, or something else entirely that transcends our current categories of possibility, one fact remains completely undeniable. Our cosmos contains active realities that demand immediate preparation for scenarios that challenge everything we assumed about our cosmic solitude. The choice humanity faces is no longer whether contact with non-terrestrial intelligence will occur during our lifetimes. The choice is whether we'll be adequately prepared when intelligence from beyond our world determines that we've finally developed technology sophisticated enough to participate in conversations they may have been attempting to initiate for longer than we can imagine. In the darkness beyond Mars, something with capabilities that exceed our most advanced technology continues actively responding to humanity's first deliberate attempts at interstellar communication. Subscribe now because the next signal may change everything.